Hey guys, welcome to the program. Donald Trump told NATO to cough up 5% or get lost, and the room went silent. Of course they did. They don't want to pony up. The world just got a wake-up call this morning. What does that mean for countries that don't want to cough up the funds? I'm looking at you, Spain. And today we're going to talk about how New York just handed the keys to City Hall to a full-blown socialist in a Bernie hoodie. Welcome to the madness. Has New York finally signed its own death warrant? And what does that mean for the rest of America? Welcome to the Chad Prather Show. We are going to burn the world down today. I have got the stuff that you need to know as we break these stories down and a whole lot more, because today we're going to be diving headfirst into the geopolitical cannonball that was President Trump's thunderclap performance at the NATO summit in The Hague. And let me tell you, he didn't just shake hands and pose for photos, folks. He walked in like a man with unfinished business and a suitcase full of accountability. I hope you guys are doing well. Make sure that you hit like and get in that chat, get involved with the episode. Make sure you're sharing it. You're subscribed to the channel on Rumble and over there under the Google overlords on YouTube. We're going to have a good time today, folks. The world has gone absolutely bat crazy, and we are going to try to find some sanity in the middle of it. I want to try to get you to walk away from this thing with hope, even though there's some things that are going on in our world that should absolutely scare the fire out of you. Don't forget, we need you guys to text CHAD, I spell it Chad, to 989898. Let Birch Gold secure your future with a tax-sheltered IRA. They can roll over an old 401k from your work that's not doing anything, or maybe you got a savings account that's just not gaining any interest. You can rest assured on that. The dollar is already just a banknote in your pocket. There's just a certificate of debt. It's worth nothing. So if you're laying awake at night wondering about your future because the stock market is all topsy-turvy, don't do that anymore. Text Chad to 989898. They will send you a free, no-obligation information kit. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Tens of thousands of satisfied customers. They will not steer you wrong. Let Philip and the gang over at Birch Gold take care of your future, folks. Listen, I know you're going to have to die in the saddle with the boots on. Social Security ain't social or secure, so let's make sure that you've got what you need at Birch Gold. All right, text Chad, C-H-A-D, to 989898. All right, Trump walked into NATO this morning. He did not ask, he did not beg, he demanded. He demanded 5% of these countries' GDP for defense. He said, pony up or pack up. I'd say that's a pretty bullish move. And just like that, the room got real quiet. Spain, they started whining like a broke college kid at a steakhouse. Mr. Producer, if you would pull up this clip. I want to let the people watch it and see what happened, because you probably weren't paying attention to what went on in NATO this morning. Play the clip.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah. A question on Spain. Are you satisfied with today?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And, you know, they're doing very well. The economy is very well. And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening. You know, Spain is the only country that... Are you from Spain?
Yeah.
Good, congratulations. You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make it up. You know what we're going to do? We're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much. And I'm actually serious about that. We're going to make Spain... I like Spain. I have so many people from Spain that it's a great place and they're great people. But Spain is the only country out of all of the countries that refuses to pay. And, you know, so they want a little bit of a free ride. But they'll have to pay it back to us on trade, because I'm not going to let that happen. It's unfair. It's unfair to NATO. All right, sir, please.
Trump is running the Bulls in Barcelona there, baby. Let's get something straight, folks. Even when he says they're going to pay twice as much, they're still at 4%. He's telling the rest of the world to come up with 5% of their GDP. For decades, America has been footing the bill for NATO, while half of Europe has been freeloading behind our military might. 2% was the old standard, folks. Even that's been like pulling teeth. I mean, where's the globalists? Where are they at? Why aren't they standing up and pulling something out of their pocketbook? Trump just tossed the rule book out the window and said, no more 2%. It's time for 5%. If you believe in that, if you agree with that, I want you to put a big yes and an American flag in the chat. Listen, if you want protection under the American umbrella, then you've got to pay your bills like your freedom depends on it. Because as we've seen in the geopolitical world right now, the things that have unfolded, your freedom does depend on us. Donald Trump is leadership, folks. I don't care what you say. I guarantee you Joe Biden could not have immediately answered a reporter or a question or a pushback from Spain. He couldn't have done it. He wasn't capable of doing it. Donald Trump, right off the top of his head, says, listen, the economy in Spain is good. Why aren't you pulling your weight? This is a message to the rest of these countries as well. This European Union, these folks that are out there that are just living off of America's tit, that's got to stop. What you're seeing right now in NATO, what you saw last week with the couple of days ago with the ceasefire between Iran and Israel, that's leadership. It's courage. That's the backbone of a president who puts the country first, not Brussels, not Berlin. You got Spain that's going to drag its heels like a toddler at nap time, and Trump pointed straight at them and said, you got money for social programs and green fantasy projects, but not for defense. Then don't expect us to carry the load when the wolves come knocking. It's savage, it's direct, it's absolutely unmistakable, and I like it. I like it. Now, the real question is, what does this mean for the world order? Because let's not kid ourselves, Trump's not just rattling cages, he's redrawing the entire blueprint for how the global alliances work. I loved it when he got off that plane and he put that USA hat right on top of his head. The boss is in town. This isn't Joe Biden, this isn't Barack Obama on an apology tour. What Trump is saying is you don't get to hide behind our nuclear arsenal while sending fan mail to the UN. He's saying this isn't a charity, it's a partnership, and you're going to pull your damn weight. The partnership requires a buy-in. You don't just get a free membership at the country. You don't get a free membership at the country club. You don't get a table at the seat. And in doing so, what he's doing is he's forcing every NATO nation to ask themselves, are they ready to step up, or are they just going to ride our coattails? Because so far, that's what's happened. And this is what real negotiation looks like. Again, this is more peace through strength. This is not a rainbow-colored joint declaration that promised peace and deliver paperwork. Trump threw an absolute grenade into the old guard, and the smoke is still rising, folks. I want you to watch these allies. Watch them wobble, because I want to tell you who's watching this whole thing. But before we do, I want you to play this clip and just watch, as this tweet says here, watch 47 just run the show. Play the clip.
I mean, we may do papers on it, Marco. Maybe we're going to do papers. I don't even know if you need them. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
I think we have to join.
Of course, that's an allusion to Trump dropping one of the most epic F-bombs. You got to give him a free pass on that deal right there. But let me tell you who's watching this when he says these words. These are the folks that are out there in the shadows. Iran, China, Russia, Hamas. You think they're nervous about NATO's gender inclusion task force? No, hell no. They're watching Trump shake the tree, and they know if he's back in charge, the gloves are going to come off. This is not a botched Afghanistan withdrawal where you leave $80 billion in equipment behind and men and women in our service get killed. This is not a show of weakness that causes Vladimir Putin to rush into Ukraine as soon as Biden botched the evacuation out of Afghanistan. And don't think this doesn't cause some tension elsewhere, because you got Ukraine. Ukraine's starting to feel the heat today as well. I mean, Volodymyr Zelensky showed up in a freaking suit. Now, if you remember when he was at the Oval Office and got his comeuppance a couple of months ago from Vice President J.D. Vance, and was doubled down on by Donald Trump, and they ended the meeting abruptly. When my friend Brian Glenn in the press pool asked Volodymyr Zelensky, he said, why don't you wear a suit? Why do you come in here basically wearing a sweatshirt? And he says, when there is peace, then I will wear the costume. Well, he got his ass out of the limo wearing a suit today because he knows the boss is in town, and that's who he wants to meet with. He's in there looking dapper, I got to admit. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wearing a little sport coat there, Vladdy. I can't believe that Baby Gap makes suits that small, but there he is in his little size 00. Wow, look at that. Look at that picture right there. Just look at that picture. Look at these weak-ass people. I mean, there's Macron. These guys are Beto, soy, cuck, limp-wristed. Trump said the message, though. He said, you got to pay more. If you're okay with that, I want you to blow up that chat with that American flag, man. You got to pay more. Again, don't confuse generosity with weakness. And God knows America has been generous. And again, I don't think Trump, and I don't think any of us, we're not anti-Ukraine in that we're not against the Ukrainian people, but we are against anti-exploitation. What Trump is saying in this NATO speech is if we're going to go back, if we're going to go and back you up with American blood and treasure and funds, you better come correct. No more corruption, no more playing victim while funneling cash to your cousins and your cocaine habit. It's not cruelty. That's tough love for the global order. And see, we've gotten into this toxic empathy for too long where we think we got to play nice with everybody. We don't have to play nice with anybody. We could shut everything down. I mean, you saw how fast he shut the borders. We could shut down that outward flow of cash that goes to all these countries because God knows they're not sending us anything. And let's circle back to Spain for a minute. They're going to try to play the holdout hero of European freeloaders. They balked at the 5% demand like Trump asked them to sell their firstborn. And Spain's government said it's going to destabilize the alliance. You know what destabilizes alliance, folks? Let me tell you, it's leeches, parasites, and cowards. People who expect others to bleed while they sip the wine of the coast of Valencia. Trump ain't going to destabilize NATO, bunch of bastards. He's going to expose the rot. He's going to put a mirror in front of every leader in that room and say, you want the world to take you seriously? Then you better contribute and act like it. Act like you deserve respect. Because strength commands respect. You know why this moment matters? You didn't wake up today thinking about NATO. You didn't wake up thinking about Trump's speech at The Hague. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you why it matters. Because for the first time in years, America walked into the room not as an ATM, but as a lion, as a warrior, as a savior. And again, don't mix my words up. I'm not saying Trump is a Christ. I'm not saying he's a Messiah. I'm not saying he's God. I'm not saying he should be worshiped. But my goodness, it's refreshing to have leadership in there that's bold and is willing to not bend the back and bow down to these bunch of pinheads globally who don't even know what the difference is between a man and a freaking woman. Trump doesn't play polite. I love watching Trump on the global scale. I love watching him on the global scene. When he walks out and somebody steps in front of him and he just slaps the shit out of him and moves him out of the way, he doesn't bow, he doesn't scrape, he doesn't hide behind press statements. He says what needs to be said, and if that offends you, good, because maybe it will wake you up. Watch. Here's some more Trump. Play the clip.
For it because we have scum that's in this group.
Scum.
VR, you have some great reporters, but you have scum. CNN is scum. MSDNC is scum. The New York Times is scum. They're bad people. They're sick. And what they've done is they're trying to make this unbelievable victory into something less. Now, even they admit that it was hit very hard, okay? But it wasn't hit hard.
Talking about Iran.
Brutally, and it knocked it out. The original word that I use, I guess it got us in trouble because it's a strong word. It was obliteration. And you'll see that. And it's going to come out. Israel is doing a report on it now, I understand. And I was told that they said it was total obliteration. You know, they have guys that go in there after the hit, and they say it was total obliteration.
Total obliteration. Now, the left calls that reckless, that kind of rhetoric. They call that reckless. The globalists call that provocative. I call it leadership, folks. I think you do too. Because what we have here is Trump absolutely reminding the world that peace doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being feared, respected, and too damn strong to mess with, quite honestly. See, the CNN and MSNBC and those talking heads and the legacy and the mainstream media, they love ceasefires because historically ceasefires means that it gives time. Oh, and by the way, the war pigs, the warmongers out there, the Lindsey Grahams of the world, they love ceasefires because historically the ceasefire gives the opposition opportunity to re-equip, reload, and refill their bank accounts. Because what happens is after you bomb the shit out of somebody, the globe starts sending them cash and start sending them weapons to make up for what they just lost. They start rebuilding that country's infrastructure after you bombed them. So China's going to send them resources. Russia's going to send them resources. And historically, they love the ceasefires because the ceasefires give a pause in the conflict long enough for Tehran to rebuild and rearm themselves and come back. And that's what they're used to. This is why CNN loves to run with these stories about how, well, we didn't obliterate them. Really, nothing happened. Probably nothing was destroyed. If there was anything there in the first place, they probably moved it. But this is not that same game show. This is America feeling like America again. Whatever that may mean to you, I know what it means to me. So what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, what happens now? Will NATO crumble under the weight of Trump's expectations? Will Europe rise to the challenge or retreat into the pacifist echo chambers? Only time's going to tell. But I know he's holding the media accountable. He continues to roast them. I mean, let's play this clip right here. Let's take a look at this before we switch gears over to New York City. Play this clip.
Oh, fake news, CNN? Oh, yeah, here we go. Wait till you hear this question. You should really say how great our soldiers and our warriors are.
I think everyone appreciates our soldiers and our warriors. I do have two questions for you, Mr. President.
Caitlin Collins, I mean, absolutely roasting her. Play this next clip.
Questions, please. Wow. That's a lot of questions. Who's a nice person? Oh, you're not a nice person, but I'll let you ask one. Go ahead. What's he going to ask? He is not nice at all. I know him well.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time before flying home. You just said you believe the conflict between Israel and Iran is over. What makes you so confident it is? And what do you do if it isn't?
Because I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out. Questions, please?
There you go. There you go. I mean, nobody knows better than him, right? And again, time will tell. But Trump, the bottom line, the takeaway from all of this, Trump didn't come to play games. He's not playing games with NATO. He's not playing games with the mainstream media. He's definitely not playing games with CNN. They're scum. I tell you, they're scum. They're weaker than a jellyfish, spineless like a jellyfish in a blender. The man has come to change the rules, folks. The Biden agenda is gone. It's got to be gone. NATO's got to catch up. The media better catch up, because I'm telling you, they're going to get left behind. The mainstream media has already lost face. The DNC, the Democratic Party's already in debt. They've lost any approval whatsoever. These people just keep doubling down on being freaking wrong. So this morning, hey, listen, I loved it because it wasn't just a speech. It was a reset button for America's role in the world. It was a declaration that the age of appeasement is over. And the era of unapologetic patriotism is just beginning, baby. That's what it means to make America great again. So to Spain, Iran, the EU, every other player on the world stage, you've just been warned. Trump's back, baby. He's hungry. He's hungry. All right, let's talk about our friends. Our friends over at Allied Oilfield, AlliedOilfield.com. They are the industry leaders in oil and gas as well as the trucking industry. Let me tell you, these guys know how to build. They build great equipment. It's amazing, the equipment they build. I don't know if you've ever seen equipment quite that great, but it's fantastic. It's amazing. Get over there. Check them out, AlliedOilfield.com. They are the ones who are making things happen. If you're in that industry, go check them out. If you're an engineer looking for equipment, you're looking for a partner out there to bring out to your job site. If you're one of those contractors, you're one of them people out there that controls everything, go over to AlliedOilfield.com. They're my friends. I love them. They're in Leveland, Texas. And they've been doing this for 2 decades. More than that, I think, honestly. Isn't that right, little Marco? That's right. Over 20 years. AlliedOilfield.com. Go over there and check them out. I love them. All right, guys. Deep breath. Deep breath. You fired up? I'm fired up, man. Let me see you in the chat. Make that thing move a little bit. Come on, give me some American flags in there. Give me some fire emojis. Give me some prayer emojis. I don't care. Whatever's emojis there. Make Donald Trump dance if you're there on Rumble. I want to see it. Put a comment in there. Don't forget, go over and leave a hard comment. You say, what in the hell's a hard comment? Well, it's a comment that's been on shore leave. Let me tell you what you need to do. Get over there and type that thing out there in the, it's under the video. It's the one that stays there forever because the live chat goes away. But it helps our algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed to Chad Prather on Rumble or on YouTube, the shorts on YouTube, you're missing out. Our short that we just put out, and shout out to my buddy David Medina, our producer David, at David Medina PDX on the Instagram and the X. We put out the clip of Byron Donalds going on. It wasn't Byron Donalds, it was Wesley Hunt. Byron Donalds. I'm getting my people confused. Over on Bill Maher, that thing's got like 4 million views now. I'm loving it. So go check that out. Savage. All right, let's talk about New York City. New York City, baby. City that never sleeps, the city that never thinks, more like it. It's about to go into a coma, though, from the taxpayer-funded ideological vanity projects that they keep on pushing. And New York's leadership is turning America's crown jewel into a case study of how progressive politics absolutely eats itself. Because yesterday, New York City just elected Karl Marx in skinny jeans as a mayoral candidate. That's right, he won the Democratic primary. He is a self-proclaimed Democratic socialist named Zohran Mamdani. He just beat Andrew Cuomo in the Democrat Party. He's going to be up against Eric Adams as an independent, and then the Republican, which is probably not going to have a chance. Yeah, that's right. He beat Andrew Nipple Ring Cuomo. He got beat by a 33-year-old radical who thinks capitalism is a hate crime. We've officially gone from the Big Apple to the rotten core. Zohran Mamdani, just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Here's what he says over there on X. This is one of his, this is thanks to Libs of TikTok, where he says, we don't need an investigation to know that the NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. This is who's running for the Democratic Party. Maybe this is a gift, honestly. This guy's rhetoric is horrible. Running for mayor in New York City. He said they're a threat to public safety. I wonder if my buddy Zeke Arkham has anything to say about that. He's a NYPD cop. He said hashtag defund the police. Here's you one. Defiant L said, New York City woman. New York City is not safe. It's not safe for women. I'm so sick and tired of having to look over my shoulder 24/7, not just at night, during the day at all hours. I'm sick and tired of it. It's about to get worse. There's the words out of her own mouth. Play the clip.
I don't even know what to say at this point. I had to get off the train, past my stop, because there was a guy who was following me from car to car. And when I tried to get off at my stop, which was pitch dark, he held it open to see if I was going to get off. So I had to get off the stop after. And then when I got off the stop after, I hopped on the next train that was going the other direction. And I got on an express train. And I was back on the other side of the tracks. Hold on. New York City is not safe. It's not safe for women, okay? I am so sick and tired of having to look over my shoulder 24/7, not just at night, during the day, at all hours. I'm sick and tired of it.
Don't take the subway, folks. Not in New York City. Zohran Mamdani, this is another one of his posts right here. Queer liberation means defund the police. What? This guy, now the critics of this are calling this a political earthquake in New York City. He beat Andrew Cuomo 43% to 36%. I think you could check my numbers. That's a first round tally. The final results are pending. Of course, they're going to be, they takes forever, you know. I mean, that's according to the New York Post. Let me tell you what this signals. Let me just tell you what this signals, okay? These are radical economic fantasies. Let me just run through some facts with you, okay? I got some notes pulled up here. Here's his suite of demands, okay? Rent freezes, city-owned grocery stores, a $30 an hour minimum wage by 2030, universal child care, tax hikes on the wealthy. I mean, this is like a wish list from Bernie Sanders' fever dream, okay? This is a wet dream of AOC's. This is not a blueprint for fiscal sanity, okay? Millennial power play is what this is. This is idiocy. You know what? I think woke hit its peak in the millennials. I really don't think like Gen Z and the ones that came after that are as woke. I think these millennials are the effing problem. White liberal women are the problem. But when you're electing radical socialists who also identify as queer-loving Muslims, which all of that is an oxymoron to me. This guy's 33 years old, basically taking the torch from the old guard, Andrew Cuomo. He's the first Muslim, first Asian, first millennial, the most leftist figure to ever claim the Democratic nomination in the city's history. And let me tell you how they pulled it off. You had a lot of youth, first-time voters, ignorant people that came out of the brainwashed academia place we call colleges and universities. There were tons of first-time voters that turned out in this, which I'm telling you, America has become brain dead in regards to this. There were a lot of blue-collar blocks. There was a grassroots surge that left Cuomo's $25 million super PAC and traditional establishment networks in the dust. He was endorsed by Bernie Sanders. Blah. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course. Cortez. This is the answer to the left's, this is the left's answer to New York progressivism, is to take it even further left. This is the guy who was shouting down Tom Homan outside of the city hall or the courtroom there, who was literally unhinged, losing his freaking mind out there screaming, having to be pushed back. Zohran Mamdani. Now, he's the kind of guy who thinks Venezuela was just one good PowerPoint away from a utopia. I mean, think about this. I'm gonna hammer this down. Government-run grocery stores. Where is this? Moscow? Where are we living? $30 an hour minimum wage by 2030. A rent freeze. Your taxpayer dollars, your dollars are funding every fantasy Karl Marx couldn't publish before he croaked in London. Folks, this isn't politics. It's economic fan fiction for people who think Che Guevara was a fashion icon. And here's the kicker. He's not just a fringe weirdo that's shouting into a college megaphone. He freaking won in New York City. This is the Democrat candidate. Play this clip, Mr. Producer. Play it. Turn the volume up. Let's hear Zohran.
How many more New Yorkers are not charged? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Homan? How many more New Yorkers are not charged?
This is the guy who is the Democrat candidate for mayor in New York City. The only hope of beating him is ridiculously Eric Adams as an independent. New York City, the same place that 24 years ago was hit and the towers came down and we all came out against radical extremist Muslim terrorists. I don't care about your conspiracy theories. We can do all that. I got my own. But when you see those towers fall, New York immediately realized that they were under attack, and the people that at least were the face of the blame were radical terrorists, Islamic terrorists. 24 years later, the Democratic Party in New York City just elected this guy, Mamdani, a self-avowed Muslim, extremist, radical, defund the police, spend your taxpayer money, queer-loving, fill-in-the-blank, Democrat socialist. Play the clip.
We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford. A city where they can do more than just struggle. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism, to stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors, and to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party.
You thought New York City was bad last year under Eric Adams, with all the illegals living in high-rise hotels while veterans slept on the street. I want to remind you guys with a sane, calm head here. This is the same place, New York City, that gave us Giuliani's grit, that gave us Donald Trump, honestly, and now is going to give us socialism on tap with a touch of Palestinian liberation poetry. This guy, I mean, I get, what is it about a guy who can get up there and speak well even though he's a radical? I mean, we got Barack Obama because of this. How are people this brainwashed? I mean, we all talk about AOC. Zohran Mamdani is like AOC 2.0, but with a beard, a bad attitude, and on steroids. He's backed by Bernie, AOC, every blue-haired activist whose parents still pay their rent. The media is going to call this a historic win. You know what else was historic? The fall of freaking Rome. Look that up, because this is what you're about to see. I mean, you go to Inverse Kramer, at Kramer Tracker, says people in New York started Googling what socialism was after the polls closed. Look at the graph. Look at the graph. Look at the trend. Look at the tick upward. After the polls closed, they started looking up what socialism was. People want to know why I drop F-bombs occasionally on this program. This is why. Because there's no other word, in my opinion, that expresses the frustration of this idiocy. This dude isn't even hiding his agenda. At least Barack Obama kept a little bit in the shadows. He wants to turn New York into a socialist city-state with public banks, government-owned supermarkets, universal child care, an economy run like a group project where nobody gets fired. You think DEI and ESG has been bad in the past? Wait till you see the future of New York City. Look at my friend Jack Posobiec. Look at this chart right here. 1980 versus 2025. Look at this. This is insane, guys. It's a takeover. Let me put it this way. If Cuba and Portland had a baby and raised it on TikTok, the baby would be Zohran Mamdani. And why would you care? You say, I don't care about New York. Who cares what crazy New York does? Let me explain to you why it matters, folks. This wasn't a fluke. It was a warning shot. He didn't win with old Democrats. He won with first-time voters, immigrants, millennials, and Gen Z radicals who have been brainwashed into believing landlords are evil and borders are racist, that the police are big meanies out there. You had Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, nipple ring Cuomo, who had $25 million in PAC money. Mamdani had hashtags and TikTok rants, and he still won. The revolution ain't coming, folks. It's already running for mayor. There's a collapse ahead, and it comes in a three-piece suit. And let's be honest, the only thing socialist policies create is shared misery, government grocery stores. Really, that's your idea? You asked the Soviet Union how that turned out. Spoiler alert, they weren't lining up for arugula. I've been there. I saw it. I was there the first time in '94, freshly after the fall of communism. I saw the lines waiting to get into the meat markets there in Moscow. You don't want government-run, government-funded grocery stores because when they're ready to starve you out, they've got the power to do that. They control the supply chain, folks. Shared misery. Holy sheesh. You saw that thing there, the Statue of Liberty in a burqa. You don't want her showing those ankles. She's got her feet out and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's hard to believe right there. Defiant L said, we do not want to melt into American society and disappear. We want to go into American society with Islamic ideals and revamp their thinking. We want to turn them into Muslim individuals. This was 1990 on the part of the Muslim Brotherhood. Play this clip. Listen to it for yourself.
American melting pot. We do not want to melt into American society and disappear. We want to go into American society with Islamic ideals and revamp their thinking. We want to revamp them. We want to turn them into Muslim individuals. We shouldn't have feelings of distaste for them or intolerance because they're potential Muslim. Education is one of the most important areas that Muslims have to address. And while our objective, our final objective, is not just to become part of the system that we experience now and that we see, our objective, our final objective, is to create our own Islamic systems, and not only create Islamic systems for Muslims, but to look at all the other people who are sharing this country with us as potential Muslims. And in that long-range process of making America Muslim,
Making America Muslim. Where else to start that than New York City? A place that runs on capitalism, commerce, competition, Wall Street, real estate, tourism, entrepreneurial ventures, the backbone of the city's economy, the country's economy. And you're going to bring in a socialist framework backed by Muslim ideals, which doesn't make sense to me, but you're going to bring in the redistribution of wealth, heavy regulation, government control, increased taxation. You're going to threaten to choke off the very sectors that fund the city's massive budget. When you have a socialist government in a place like New York City, and you're going to really attack the rich while forgetting that in New York City, the rich pay for the subways that you can't go on anymore. They pay for the schools. They pay for the social services, and you're going to go out and attack them and destroy them. Listen, you remember during the pandemic, scamdemic, the wealth flight we saw? Do you know how fast that would accelerate under socialist policies in New York City? You would have a shell of a city that would be funded by declining revenue and rising debt, the likes of which we have never seen before. How does that affect the rest of us? It will trickle down to your city, I promise you. America's financial capital is New York. So now you're going to promote depolicing. You're going to reduce incarceration, put criminals on the street. You just thought crime was bad in New York. Now, leniency for the offenders. That's all that stuff is coming to New York City. All in the name of what? Equity. They'll put a big word beside it. This, folks, to me, I don't know. I've been telling you for 30 years this was coming. $30 an hour minimum wage hike. That sounds great to you punks that have never really had a job. It's not a raise, folks. That's a pink slip for small businesses. They're all going to go under. Rent freezes. Well, that's a great idea if you want landlords to quit maintaining your apartment, stop building housing, turn New York into Detroit with taller buildings. Here's the real agenda. It ain't about helping the poor. It's not about equity. It's about replacing freedom with dependency, because when the government owns your food, your housing, your health care, and your wallet, guess what else they own? You. This is the playbook, folks. We've been saying it for years. And now we're watching it turn into a reality. And don't forget, this guy's got a record of pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel rhetoric that even some liberals are calling extreme. I don't care what your position on Israel is. That's not where you get the mayor of New York. You think he's just a progressive dreamboat. No, he's rowing the ship toward the iceberg of civilizational collapse. So New York told the world, we've tried crime, we've tried corruption, and now let's go full-blown socialism and see if we can make it even bigger. Exponentially. I mean, what could go wrong? Here's a tip. And I'll move on to something else. If you see anybody in the next couple of years, if this guy becomes the mayor of New York, if you see somebody moving from New York to Texas, when that happens, I want you to ask them, if they're looking for property, if you're a real estate agent in Texas, and they coming from New York, ask them, say, did you vote for Mamdani? If they say they did, you hand them a damn road atlas and a map that's highlighted with the roads that lead to California. Send their asses there. We don't want them in Texas. Because in the great American experiment, we don't need socialist science projects. We don't need that stuff going on. We need leaders that love liberty, defend the Constitution, and believe you can build your own prosperity by burning the system down. And Zohran Mamdani didn't win because he's a visionary. He won because too many Americans are stupid and asleep at the wheel, and it's time for people to wake up. Are you going to get steamrolled by a woke utopia in a hijab? This ain't your grandmama's New York anymore. Can't take the subway. It ain't even your crazy uncle's. This is a liberal's New York. This is Gotham gone gulag. And if you think it's going to stop right there, you better think again. Hey, check out my friends over at my buddy Matt Kim. The guy started this. If you're looking for a VPN, all the VPNs I've ever promoted, I'm sticking with one. I'll never take another VPN company again. This is the one. Let me tell you why. Because VPNs, if you get on the internet, you click that button that hides where your IP address is coming from. You should be using a VPN. You should be. Most of those places have to set up offices in other countries, because if the federal government ever comes looking for your information, they can subpoena that. So these people go hide out in other countries, and they tell you that you can trust them, and like they won't look at your internet information or all of the, the data that you put in there, like your credit cards and these kind of things. They tell you they've got access to it, these VPN companies. But they tell you, we got it, but we won't look at it. VP.net/Chad doesn't have your data. So even if the government comes and puts a gun to their head and says, we need this information on Chad Prather, they can't give it to them because they don't have it. They do not keep your data. They're the only ones who do that. I want you to go to verified privacy, VP.net/Chad. I want you to sign up today. VP.net/Chad. Sign up today. They're number one, I tell you. They're number one. JD Vance, he'll tell you they're number one. JD Vance, yeah. All right, that's where we're going, JD. All right, let's show some clips from the last day or two here. JD Vance, he was giving a speech, and he just goes full-blown savage here. He casually throws up that middle finger, and This same day that Trump dropped that F-bomb, here's what he had to say. We're not playing with the woke agenda anymore. Play the clip.
Trust me, in Washington, D.C., they have this thing where I think it means we're number one in Washington, D.C., but all the pink-haired people throw up this sign, and I think, that means we're number one, right? I choose to take that as that symbol in Washington. But all kidding aside,
oh, man. Oh, boy. I mean, this is a new administration, folks. We're not messing around. Joe Rogan calls out Bernie Sanders on climate change. Play this clip. Look at Bernie. Comb your hair, Bernie.
With this climate change issue. And I know that, there are some people who think climate change is a hoax. It ain't a hoax. I think the last 10 years have been the warmest on record. And we can create millions of good-paying jobs, transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency, to solar, to wind, and other sustainable energies.
I think the climate change issue is very complicated. And I think, did you see the Washington Post piece that they wrote, where they did this long-term view? First of all, the reality is that the Earth's temperature has never been static, right? We could both agree on that. It's always been up and down. There's been ice ages and heat waves. And then the Washington Post looked at it. What was the time period that they looked at? That essentially they found that we're in a cooling period. That the Earth over the past X amount of years, and this was like a very inconvenient discovery, but they had to report the data, and kudos to them for doing that. Scientists have captured the Earth's climate change over the last 485 million years. Here's a surprising place we stand now. So look at the far end of that graph, and you see we're in a cooling period.
Well, I'm not sure. I didn't read that article, but
yeah.
The scientists who are out there, I think.
I know, but there's a lot of money involved in that too, Bernie. That's part of the problem. There's a lot of money involved in this whole climate change emergency issue, and there's a lot of control, and that's a big part of this problem.
Yeah, see, if Bernie Sanders and his ilk would stop looking at their bank account, counting the ducats they receive from the climate change cultists and lobbyists, they probably could read that article and see the science and see the graphs and see what's out there. But again, if the scientists don't say what the climate cultists want them to say, those articles get buried. So good on you, Joe Rogan, for exposing Senator Bernie Sanders. I don't know. I didn't read that article. I don't know. Well, don't take your science from a dude who can't even brush his hair to go on a massive show like that. Bernie, he's a clown, an absolute clown, folks. You're sitting there looking at the graph, looking at the science, looking at the studies, looking at all of the data. I don't know about that. Okay. All right, Bernie. All right, let's play this clip right here. This is a funny little video right here. I love this guy right here. Check it out. He's okay. He's got water. He got treats. Got the dog in the truck. Got the dog. That's what you're thinking? Got the dog. The husband's in there taking a nap. She's inside shopping. That's so funny, dude. This is funny when you I've seen this happen numerous times. When you think it's the third out of the inning, watch Pete Crow Armstrong. Watch what happens.
Fly ball center field. Pete Crow Armstrong measuring it back at the wall, and he makes the catch. And he loses track of how many outs there are. Here's the throw to the plate. The win comes all the way around.
Attaboy.
The brain cramp for PCA.
Man,
thought it was the third out of the inning. In the last couple innings, they've been out there a long
Mr. Producer,
time.
I want you to pull up the clip from. I want you to do a search on. Go ahead and play this clip first of all. Then we'll come back to what I was going to ask you. Play this. This is Mets are 1-10 and 0-5 at home since Pride Night. And they got the queers out there doing the twerk, out there shaking their ass in their rainbows. And, I mean, they forget the fact that they're out there trying to win a pennant. Mr. Producer, pull up pull up the clip, just do a little YouTube search right there for Bull Durham lollygaggers. And this is what we saw in that clip where he thought it was the third out. And if you could pull that real quick and throw that up there, I would love to see it. Let's see if you can pull that clip real quick. There's a bunch of lollygaggers. There it is right there. Bull Durham. This is a classic scene where Crash Davis says, they ain't playing ball. You got to go out there. You got to scare them. Let's see if we can get to it. Here we go.
Hell of a shot. Sorry it got wasted. Jeez. I don't know what to do with these guys. I beg, I plead, I try to be a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I don't... Huh?
They're kids. Scare them. That's what I do.
This is what Trump's doing.
Yeah.
Everybody into the shower! Anybody in the shower in 10 seconds gonna get fined $100! Larry!
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi,
Get in
5
there.
Mississippi,
Hurry it up.
6 Mississippi,
No,
7
no.
Mississippi,
Wait,
8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi.
Keep on playing it. It'll be covered. All right. All right, fine. I'll just go back and talk about it. It reminds me of that scene in Bull Durham where Crash Davis tells the coach to go out there and scare them. And they call him all in the shower, and he's like, you're a bunch of lollygaggers. You get a ground ball, you catch it, you lollygag it over to first. You hit the ball, you lollygag. And he said, a bunch of lollygaggers. That's what we got, a country full of lollygaggers. You got a world full of lollygaggers. A bunch of lollygaggers just voted for Mamdani or whatever his name was. Lollygaggers that don't want to contribute to NATO. We're calling them out, folks. We're calling them out. You got a bunch of lollygaggers. I'd pay money for Trump to say the word lollygagger just once. That would be hilarious. All right, guys, remember or make sure that you are liked and subscribed and you're sharing and doing all the things you need to do. Don't forget about our sponsors. Check them out. Birch Gold, text Chad to 989898 and go to alliedoilfield.com. Also, you can check out our friends over at vp.net/Chad. And go over and get that new VPN. It's pretty cool. There's a lot going on in our world, folks. Time to be praying, but it's time to be standing on truth, to be standing on boldness. Lift your head, lift your voice, use your platform for everything you got. You can visit me, watchchad.com. We got Chad Prather's I Plead the 5th of July coming up on July 5th. They're in White House, Texas at the Black Hawk Creek Grill. Going to be an outdoor deal, so dress accordingly, and we're going to have a good time. Jesse Payton will be with me as well. We got some shows coming up in Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, and looking forward to all of those things. So don't forget, Hot Seat Todd will be up here in about an hour, and you'll get his perspective on things. Man, oh man, crazy world we're living in. Special thanks to producer David at David Medina PDX. Don't forget to follow him. Follow me on all the socials at Watch Chad. That's where the fun stuff begins. That's where it goes. And if you want to get some of those closeout T-shirts, we're emptying the distribution center, and those are going away. You can go to prathertees.com. Check them out. All right, in the meantime, you know I love you, and I'm praying for you every single day. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow morning on the Dear America Show. Don't you miss it. We'll see you there. Bye. Hey, guys, welcome to the program. Donald Trump told NATO to cough up 5% or get lost, and the room went silent. Of course they did. They don't want to pony up. The world just got a wake-up call this morning. What does that mean for countries that don't want to cough up the funds?